Well, good morning, people. I think the phrase that comes to mind this morning is absolute shambles. I've just looked at the clock. It's nearly 11:30 in the morning. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. Anyway, welcome to my message from the sergeant's desk. First things, mistakes from yesterday, which were numerous. All of a sudden, my board game landed up being called Quattro. What? No, it's not a four-wheel drive car. It's Quarto, as in Ford Quarto. So that was my board game from yesterday. My board game for today is not a board game, but a company. And I'm going to show you a little clip in a minute of various board games that I've got and what you can buy. But the company is called Ravensburger. Now, I'm not sure of the history of the company, but it sounds like it's got German overtones to it. But the games that they produce are just nearly universally really good, really well made and beautifully produced. Lovely colours and everything. That's Ravensburger, and this is a little bit about them and some of the games that I've got of theirs. Yeah, Ravensburger, from the town of Ravensburg in Germany, formed in 1883. Been producing ever since, and their number one product are jigsaws, first produced in 1891, and this one is a real whopper. Their biggest one, 40,000 plus pieces, 13 square meters. It weighs 20 kilograms, and they optimistically say that you should allow about 600 hours in order to do it. Now, I don't know who's got enough space to make it, and have you got enough time, even with lockdown? But if you're not feeling quite as energetic, you could always go for anything down to 2 pieces. But they do 150,000 piece jigsaws, and the subjects. Well, this one's Harry Potter, but every diverse subject, and beautifully made, and the artwork is fantastic. And if you're looking for a jigsaw, I'd definitely have a look at Ravensburger. But they make also a range of board games. Now, I haven't experienced all of them, but I picked out my 3 favourites. The first one is one for adults and kids together, the Enchanted Forest. And you progress around the forest and look under trees, and you have to remember what you've seen, and and it's a good little memory game, especially for kids. But the adults can take part as well. Again, beautifully illustrated. That's a big feature of their games. And it goes on to the next one, which is perhaps for little older kids and adults. Scotland Yard. You chase a criminal round the streets of London, and you have to go on the tube, and you have to use tickets to go on the tube and try and corner him into, and they don't know where you are except for certain times. But I love it. Love that game. But my favourite of all is this one. This is Labyrinth. This is a maze game, and you progress around the board by moving. Only certain parts of the board will move. The ones with I think you can see the arrows on the end, they move, and all the rest don't. And you have to push them round and move the squares round. There's only one square that comes off the board, and you have to put that in so to make yourself a path to get to where you want to go. And just a little thing. That's Ravensburg. Well, good hunting. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I see things on the telly, you know, and I saw an edition of Pointless the other day, and something occurred to me that this was the biggest disparity in heights of contestants that I have ever seen in the history of virtually any TV game show. Just check out these two lots. I mean, are those guys very, very tall? Or the girls very, very short? Or is it a combination of the two? Unbelievable. Okay. Something and nothing. Turning over. Oh, a friend of mine, her husband's been writing a book. I think I've mentioned it before. He's a postman and he's written a kid's book. I say a kid's book. It's probably for sort of 9 and 10-year-olds. And perhaps, you know, to be read with the parents. But it's lovely. The illustrations are lovely. The front cover is lovely. And the text is lovely. And I'm waiting for permission back from Sue to do a little bit of reciting a little bit, which is right at the start of the book. And I'm going to show it now, on fingers crossed. Please go on to Amazon. The book is called, as you can going to see, Postman's Friends or Postman's Dogs. Postman's Dogs, and it's all about his encounters with dogs. And I hope you enjoy this. Postman's Dogs by Nick Naylor. Have you ever wondered why dogs are considered to be man's best friend? Is it their unswerving loyalty, their blind obedience, or just the one thing that all of us seem to be missing, that ability to love unconditionally, without judgment? Even when a doggy has been so cruelly mistreated, they still have that capacity to show love and forgiveness. You see, an Alsatian does not look at a Pekingese and think, I don't like him because he's Pekingese. He doesn't even recognise that he's another dog. He just sees him as another spirit who likes chasing balls and having doggy fun. And that's how they see humans too. Doggies know no boundaries. They care not for fences or whose property it is. They do not judge their owners. They do not worry if their human friend has a checkered past, is a boy, a girl, gay, straight, black or white, or somewhere in between. Or even if they come from an M-class planet called Asagi 21 and a green with purple spots. To them, none of it matters. Yeah, I think it's a winner. I think it's a winner. My leaf from my tree, from my family tree today, it's an extraordinary story. It all goes back to my great grandmother, Eleanor from Wilford, and she lived in Gorton in about 1870s, and she got tied up with a guy called George Coggin. But from all accounts, this Coggin was not a very good sort, because the records show that in 1882, Eleanor died in the workhouse in Lincoln. I've actually been to Lincoln, where they keep the records there, and to actually see the book in front of you with her name written in it, and the time and the date and the entries. But then to see that her two daughters, Mary and Selina, have been taken into the workhouse as well, and they were 8 and 6. Eventually, well, they were 8 and 6 when, unfortunately, she died. So they were stuck at the workhouse, orphaned, and the practice was that the kids were then farmed out to schools, and they went up to Yorkshire for some reason. I don't know why they landed up in Yorkshire. They landed up at a school teaching them to be house staff, to be maids, and they both did this. And we know what happened to especially to Mary. She landed up in a very nice household just outside Leeds, and she landed up meeting the local insurance agent. Now, whether he, well, welcome aboard. Yeah, the local insurance agent was Frederick Atherton. He obviously maybe came calling at the house. Anyway, they ended up getting married and moving to Leeds, and that's my direct line. Okay, so Mary is my great grandmother, and she made good, and they lived in Leeds, and it all came through in the end. Now, her sister Selina seemed to tag along with her, and I found in the record she was living with her in Leeds at the same address. But then the plot went cold, and when things get cold, and I mean, considering she's not a direct descendant, I thought just check her on Google. So I put her details in Google, and I was literally just going to click off when I saw her name, and she did come up in Google, and it was a listing for a passage over to Canada in 1925. So she would have been, I don't know, she was born in what, 1870, so 75. She was getting on for 50, and it was a passage. So I looked up this record, and I didn't really think much of it. And the trip was to marry. It was like a pre-arranged postal marriage to marry a blacksmith in Thunder Bay, Ontario, of all places. So I was looking at the shipping list, and then my eye, just before I clicked off it, my eye caught a name of Eric Coggins. I thought, well, who's Eric Coggins? 14 years of age. It's her son. So she's gone out to Canada with her son. So the plot thicket, and she marries this blacksmith, but obviously things weren't good for some reason, whether the weather was too bad. But 4 years later, I found her on the shipping list coming back to England. So there's Selina, and there's no sign of Eric. Oh my God, did he die out there? So her son is now 18 years of age. Has he died? Has he stayed on his own in Canada and to make his fortune? So I started searching for, I mean, how many Eric Browning Coggins can there be in Thunder Bay? And I found him. He lived up till 1996. His last address was in an old people's home in Thunder Bay. And I actually rang the home and spoke to a long time, a lady who'd been there for a long time on the staff, and she remembered him. She said he was a rascal. I think was the word. He was a rum rascal. And yes, he had family. So from there, I then traced more members of the Coggins family in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and they're still alive and kicking. And basically had no idea of what their origin was about Selina. Now, Selina, for her part, gets back to England, and I can't find any more trace of her. So, was she going under the name of Coggins? Was she going under the name of Brown, I think was the name of the blacksmith? So I've got to try and trace her. I can't find a record of her death anywhere. And I traced the birth of her son over to the East Coast in Hull. And it appeared to be some kind of single ladies' place where single girls went to give birth to. And the lady who in charge of the place was a Mrs. Browning. Hence, I think, why the son was called Eric Browning Coggins. I thought for one moment that would be the father's name, but no. But there you go. From a very sad tale back in the 1880s in a poorhouse, the workhouse in Lincoln, all the way through to family living in Thunder Bay, Ontario to this day. And okay, you know, when you send somebody a message over there and you get the feedback, it's really nice. Okay, so that's the story. Okay, I've not got too much more. I've got a bit of culture for you. My mum used to take me to the Opera House in Manchester back in the 60s, and we used to go and watch Gilbert and Sullivan. It was the D'Oyly Carte company. Used to travel all over Britain, and they came to give, and I just loved HMS Pinafore, Trial by Jury, The Mikado, all great light operas. And so I thought I'd give you this rendition and see what you make of it, and see if you enjoy it and get enthused by it. Okay, see you in a minute.
The music of Gilbert and Sullivan has enthralled audiences for more than 100 years. And now, a new CD.
Three little maids from school are we, both as a schoolgirl well can be, filled to the brim with girlish glee. Three little maids from school.
The Daleks sing G&S.
I am the very model of a modern major general. I've information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England and I quote the facts historical from Marathon to Waterloo and order categorical. Wandering one, though thou hast Charlie strayed.
With music director Davros at the piano, this new CD is one to treasure throughout the universe.
With cat-like tread, upon our prey we steal. In silence dread, our cautious way we feel. No sound at all, we never speak a word.
The beauty of the sun whose rays.
The sun whose rays are all ablaze with ever-living glory does not deny his majesty, he scorns to tell a story. When the Dalek bears his steed, exterminate, exterminate, we uncomfortable feel, exterminate. And we find the wisest thing, exterminate, exterminate, is to exterminate and see, exterminate.
The Daleks sing G&S from ABC Classics, available at all good record stores.
Not quite what you expected, I suspect. Okay, I'm not going to go on much longer. There's a couple of pieces I've got to insert. The elapsed time is about 12 minutes on the clock in front of me, so I'm not going to go much further. But I will tell you a little story. I don't drink much, as I've told you before, but I just fancied. Always going back in the day, I used to love a Magners. So I went in the fridge, in the cupboard, just to the left of where I keep all my dangerous chemicals, and got a bottle of Magners out. So opened up the top and poured in the glass. Oh, that's okay. And I went to take a taste of it, and I thought, that's not best ever. Smelled it. Okay. Then I spotted the best before date, 2008. So it would appear that bottled cider doesn't travel, it doesn't stay well. But yeah, how old is the oldest thing you found in your fridge? This is a bit of a throwback. My father used to keep chocolate in a cupboard for kids and for himself if you managed to, when he arrived and he give you a Turkish delight or something, first thing he always did was turn it over and check what the sell-by date was. You know, if you managed to get one that was in the same decade, then yeah, that was okay. And to be honest, you know, a lot of these sell-by days and eat-by days. So, caution, It's great, isn't it? You're trying to make a production, the cat's walking in front of you. What is it, cat? No, we haven't found your GPS, have we? We've not found your GPS. Come say hello to everybody. Come on. There we go. This is Pumpkin. She's a bit down in the mouth because she can't find her GPS. But I've read the instructions and apparently it's insured. Okay. I should hope so if the amount I pay for it. So it's insured, so they will send me another one. I've just got all the faff of having to fill in the detail. So Pumpkin and I are going to say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. And we'll see you tomorrow. Be kind to us. Be kind to yourselves and be kind to your cat. And that's all, folks. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.